Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I want to talk a little bit about Xbox and where I think things are going and why I am more excited after watching the Xbox documentary and stuff. It brought back like a lot of nostalgic feelings from just those console launches and stuff, and seeing. And it's kind of weird. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I kind of want to talk about this. So if you remember, like if you're my age and you remember back, because I was around 21 when the original Xbox launched. So I do fondly remember back then just being so hyped, being so young and so hyped and still like really like at the point where I was like, oh my gosh, man, gaming was like the biggest thing it had ever been back then. And my excitement, my hype level for games in general, back in, the early 2000s, back when I was a store manager of a video game store, Game Crazy, it was a different time back then. Like I was younger. I was more like, whoa, man, this is just the greatest thing ever. And then when you watch that original Xbox, now I did have the original Xbox. I actually still have my original Xbox. That's the only one I still have out of all my old consoles. For some reason, I'm thinking about cleaning it up and like putting it here in the background, in my show. It's just downstairs in where I keep everything. I don't have the power brick to it no more. I don't have I don't have a controller, and I don't have the video cables anymore. I thought they were all in like a bag or something, but besides that, so like watching that documentary, it takes me back to the time like when Xbox first launched, and I was playing games like Amped on it, and I was playing stuff like, like Mortal Kombat 4, so many, or yeah, was it Mortal Kombat 4 or Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance? It might have been Deadly Alliance on that. Yeah, that might have been Deadly Alliance. Stuff like Need for Speed. Need for Speed on that original Xbox. I really liked that Xbox. That first original Xbox. I never got into Halo or anything like that. I remember playing like Brute Force and Tao Feng and all these amazing games on that original Xbox, and everything looked better. That was where I played Splinter Cell. That was where I played Ghost Recon for the first time. That original Xbox was pretty big for me. It never was able to overtake, like the PlayStation for me or whatever. But that Xbox was so good. And back then, like, I don't ever remember like thinking, oh yeah, man, this was the best. It's got the best graphics and stuff like that. I don't remember that, but I mean, like for that Xbox generation, like that was probably my favorite of the Xbox generations. Just because it was the first one for some reason. 360, I didn't really pay that. I didn't really pay as much attention to the Xbox 360 as I did the Xbox One. The Xbox One, we had like Knights of the Old Republic, KOTOR, all of those games. That was like the big selling system when I was a store manager. And the PlayStation 2. We had the PlayStation 2, the Nintendo GameCube, and the Xbox. So that generation alone, I just had so much interaction with all three of these consoles. You know what I mean? Like on a daily basis. Like these things were at the front and center of what I was doing right then and there. I had, my amazing first party games like Siphon Filter and SOCOM and Castlevania Laminate of Innocence and, just the Devil May Cry games. And then on Xbox, we had these completely different types of games like these, gosh, what was the name of that one? It was like a soldier game, like a first person shooter where you could like shoot like hands off and stuff like that. I forgot. It was like Soldier something, Soldier of Fortune, I think it was. Soldier of Fortune. These games were so cool. Like back then, it just, watching those documentaries, it just filled me with so much nostalgia of that generation. And that generation right there, Xbox, Nintendo GameCube, and freaking PlayStation 2, these were all still top competing systems. Like they were competing hardcore. Like a lot of my friends, a lot of my childhood friends, They jumped on that Xbox and they've been there since. They have been there since. Me, I stuck to my PlayStation. I love PlayStation. It's the best. I never really got into the first person. I couldn't play games like Halo back then. I couldn't do the first person shooters. For some reason, they just made me sick when I would play them. So I never got into that. I never got pulled into that multiplayer atmosphere like a lot of my friends did. And now that I look back, I mean, now I can play these games. Like I can play these first person shooters no freaking problem. They're great now. I haven't gotten sick in a game since Fallout 4. Fallout 4 and Doom 2016 were the last two that actually made me kind of feel a little seasick or whatever. But if I would have continued, I mean, had Game Crazy not closed and I continued in there, man, I think things would have been so much different. But 360 generation comes out, and I just remember the hype surrounding that console. I remember that. I think back and I'm like, my friends were so hyped, wanting to go to all these things and stuff, to do the Xbox stuff. And like we were still pretty young. I mean, like 25, 26 when that came out or something. And like none of us could afford to go all the way out there to freaking California to like go and appreciate that big old thing. Like none of us, I mean, we didn't have the money to do that back then, but the things that we were, just the hype surrounding that Xbox 360. And then when PlayStation 3 came out, like right when they announced that price, I just remember like they sucked the air right out of the beginning of the PlayStation 3 generation for a lot of people. Yeah, there were people out there that obviously could clearly afford to go buy that. I was one of them. I made sure I had the money to get that. I was a major PlayStation fan and I had to have that. And to tell you the truth, I mean, I think PlayStation 3 was the first time I ever was disappointed with a console generation. It was just disappointing. And then I would think about, because in my mind back then, like video game consoles were still the same. There wasn't one that was more powerful or one that was any better. I mean, like PlayStation was like the best. That was my comfort zone. That was what I knew and what I loved and what I appreciated. And the first party games, because of that. And I was coming off that PlayStation 2 high. I had SOCOM 1, I had SOCOM 2, I had SOCOM 3, So like so many different games. I had freaking, Gran Turismo all the way up to Gran Turismo 4. We had just so many freaking amazing God of War 2. We had freaking man, there were just so many, like Jak and Daxter. We had freaking Ratchet and Clank. We had, dang, there's just so many of them. I think I already said Siphon Filter. Just so many games on the PlayStation 2 throughout that generation, like Castlevania Laminate of Innocence. Just so many games that I really liked playing. That like when that PlayStation 3 generation started, I was still on that hype train from the PlayStation 2 that, I just accepted everything the PlayStation 3 brought. I just accepted that. I didn't question it. I just accepted it because I knew they were the best. While on the other hand, Xbox was sitting there just blowing up on the right next to me. And I'm just like thinking about it. I mean, yes, I had Xbox 360. I had it. I had a few of those. And I did. I gamed on them. I played a lot of different games on them, but it just never overtook that number one spot that PlayStation had and had so long. And then when the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 generation started, like I just could not bring myself to buy an Xbox One. I didn't care about it like at all. So I stuck with my PlayStation 4 and yeah. And then, basically everything just turned out to where I basically rode the PlayStation 4 generation all the way to Xbox One X, and then boom, it hit me. I was like, wow, wait a minute. What the freak did I just miss out on? I missed out on so much. And now I'm so grateful I have both consoles. I am. I'm grateful I have both consoles. I love PlayStation. I love Xbox now. I love Nintendo, and now I got this gaming PC that's just opening up so many more doors to really experience gaming like I've never done before. And you know what, man, just being older and having more money than time is like the crux of the problem that I wish I would have had when I was younger. I wish I would have had. I wish things would have been different when I was younger. Now, it's like I'm older. I'm a little bit more wiser with my money. I don't just blow it on a whole bunch of other stupid stuff that I don't need, like going and getting the most fancy clothes and like all the other stuff that I diverted so much money to that I could have put into gaming. It's like I'm a kid with just, plenty of resources to just get out, get what I want. I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm not saying I could run out and buy whatever I wanted. Clearly, that's just stupid. But the fact that like when games launch, usually I'm okay. I've got enough money, I can pre-order them and have them paid for by the time they come out. Or like when I'm at Best Buy and I see a laptop and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just put that on the Best Buy card. It's just I have access. I have more access to ways to get things now. Where's those resources weren't there when I was younger, but now they are. Now that I work a stable career and I don't run around, and I don't do a lot of other stuff. It just makes it easier as you get older to be able to acquire more stuff and appreciate more things. Now I buy all my games digital. I don't even worry about buying physical copies anymore unless it's on the Nintendo Switch. And that alone has changed so much, because now instead of treating my games like one and done experiences, now every time I want to go back and re-experience that, I have that in my library. And I can go back to it and I can revisit those experiences whenever I want to now. And that to me is more valuable than being able to beat a game, trade it in, and get money back. That's so much more valuable. There are games that I've bought that when I bought them, I was just like, man, I'm not into this. And then like a year later, I'll pick it up again. I'll be like, you know what? Let me try this again. And then I'll get in there, and before you know it, I'm beating the game and I'm having a really good time. That's why buying my games digital now is extremely important to me. And Microsoft hit the nail on the head with the Xbox One generation. They really did. All except for the whole stupid TV thing. Like, nobody cared about the TV thing. They wanted like games and stuff like that. But like the DRM, like, that comes with our digital games, man. Like, once we buy them, they're ours. And I'm just saying that like they're forward thinking of bringing, LAN support to the Xbox, and then bringing Xbox Live and like all these other things that now we just are like, as gamers, like I don't get that same super hype that I used to like during the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, generation before those were coming out. That hype has changed so dramatically. I mean, like I knew I was hyped about this generation, like Series X and PlayStation 5, but like getting a PlayStation 5 on day one, like, no, I wasn't going to go stand in the cold for that. I got on the website when pre-orders went live for Xbox, and I managed to get one. Just boom, hit the thing, added it, paid for it, got it day one. PlayStation 5, I did not spend a whole lot of time trying to get one. I just woke up in the morning, I hit the button at Target, and boom, they'd let me put it in my cart, and I bought it. It's just how the things worked out. And that's fine, because I already had the Xbox Series X. I was more than happy with that. So by the time I got my PlayStation 5, I like PlayStation, okay? I know they're going to do some amazing things this generation. Horizon Forbidden West is going to look amazing. Gran Turismo 7 is probably going to be my favorite Gran Turismo game ever made. God of War, it's probably going to be a pretty dang good game. Probably going to appreciate Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy getting 4K upgrades. Like, I love PlayStation. I'm going to appreciate these things, and I'm going to be happy with them. But at the same time, I really do think PlayStation is pulling another PlayStation 3 this generation. I believe that their price increase for the games and the quality of the stuff that's come out so far, and I'm really trying to focus on, last gen and next gen. This is it's not just Sony that's doing that though. I mean, like, look at Call of Duty, man. We should already be on next gen only Call of Duties. But no, man, all these live service games, they are giving these games a longer life. Like, look at Grand Theft Auto 5. Fortnite. These live service games are allowing these guys to just sit back and pump out a little bit of content here, a little bit of content there. You know, Ubisoft doing the same thing with Assassin's Creed and everything else. We are the ones that are slowing down the progress of games going forward. I like live service games. Should they last longer than 2 years? Probably not. Probably not. I want something new. I get like that all the time. I would much rather have a new game. And I've put a little bit of thought into this, you know, over the last couple of days. Do we really need these live service games, or should we just, you know, kind of just let them move forward? You know, I mean, we are stopping the production of our games by continuing to spend money on these old games. Like, we're continuing to do that. Do I want PlayStation to invest and bring my old favorite games up to quality on the PlayStation 5? Yeah, I do. I definitely do. Am I going to pay them for it? Yeah, I'm definitely going to pay them for it. But at the same time, I also want new games. We're going to go through all next year with PlayStation pumping out cross-gen games. Xbox is going to start pumping out their new gen only games, man. They're exclusive, you know, they're console exclusives, and you know they're gonna let, you know, the last console generation stream those experiences, and that's pretty cool, man. PlayStation went the wrong way with this one, I think. You know, I mean, I am grateful that more players get to play these games, but at the same time, I kind of want to see what our new consoles are gonna do. And if you've got all the big hitters like Battlefield and Call of Duty and all these other guys holding back the generation so they can milk people out of more money for these old games that are clearly built on last gen, you know, tech, I don't want to play that old stuff for much longer. You know, I'm okay with it maybe for the next year or so, but I want new experiences in between that. I want true next gen only games next year. I don't want a whole lot of this cross-gen stuff going into next year. And that really makes me mad, because Sony should have had some of those games out this year. They should have. It would have softened the blow. It would have made things better. With God of War being cross-gen and coming out at the end of next year, all those games need to come out at the first of the year, man. They cannot afford to hold God of War all the way until the freaking end of next year. If they do that, that's just stupid. That's so dumb. That game needs to come out as soon as possible. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave this one at this. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and it definitely helps out the channel. I know this was kind of a weird rant, but now I got to rewatch it all to figure out what the title's going to be. So I'll see you in the next one.